Hi, I'm David Norod. I'm the principal broker of WJD Management here in beautiful downtown Fairfax, Virginia. And with me today is Gina Genovese, our comptroller, who's going to ask me a series of relevant questions.
So David, tell us, what does a property manager do to price the rental market?
Basically, I snoop. I get in the database being the coveted MRIS, private database that only a licensed realtor can access. In some regions it's known as the MLS, but here it's the Metropolitan Regional Information System because we're better and bigger. I mean that in a nice way. And so I get in the database and I look at the subject property and I see what the county or the jurisdiction has assessed it for. And then I look at the room configuration, how many bedrooms. Are you paying attention? Okay.
Go ahead.
How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, square footage, if it has a garage, if it has a fireplace, and just get kind of the layout of the whole thing. Then I start snooping, and I go to the map that comes with this software that we use to look at the MRIS database. I draw a big circle and say, here's the subject property, and I pinpoint that, and then I expand a radius. Usually I go 1 mile, but it depends if it's very, very densely populated, like a lot of residences, I'll maybe do a half mile, sometimes do a quarter of a mile. But draw a big circle, and those are going to be the comparables. Then I start looking for comparable structures. Well, is it a condominium, is it a townhouse, is it a single-family detached home, what is it, high-rise, mid-rise? Weed out the structures that are not the same thing. Then I start narrowing it down by all kinds of parameters. I start with the bedroom count, the bathroom count, the number of levels, if it has a garage, if it has a fireplace, what's the square footage, what's it assessed for. So I get a list like this big, and then I start condensing it, just finally end up with anywhere from 4 or 5 comparables to maybe 25. And then I look at, because in the database it's going to say properties that have rented, and then it's going to say how long it took to rent them.
Okay.
And it's also going to say what was the list price, what was the final rented price. Often there's a disparity there. Then what do I do next? I start getting averages of averages. So I look at properties that didn't rent. So it's going to say rented in the database I'm looking at. It's going to say withdrawn, like 97 days on the market, and it didn't rent, but it didn't rent because it was overpriced or whatever. And then I look at ones that have applications registered on them. It means that, okay, somebody wants this place. What I don't know is, did they accept the list price or not? They may have, underbid it. The homeowner may have accepted a lower price. I don't know. Then we look at what's active in the database, that being the immediate competition to the subject property. So then I start taking averages of averages, look at the square footage, all that stuff, condense it down, and then I just kind of guess. Because it's not an exact science, there's a lot of guesswork involved. But it's an educated guess because I've been doing this since, 1986 or something.